Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Finally I'm putting out something car related. It's been a bit of a minute. Reason is after the BMW left the shop where we fixed a bunch of issues, sensors, vacuum leaks, overheated again. In my process of putting the car back together, there was things that I, forgot to tighten, forgot to replace, nothing serious, but there were enough things that it was kind of causing the car to, have some issues. So, I just needed that mechanic TLC. He was awesome enough to let me film and help out and teach me stuff, so that was freaking lit. It was cool having it home already. What we couldn't get done because we couldn't figure out how to reach it was the intake temperature sensor. Found it by accident. So I was chasing down a continuing vacuum leak, and I actually found the sensor. So got that guy swapped out. Ended up getting the vacuum hose that was persistently giving us trouble. Finally got that one replaced, and car would run great. And then you'd park it for a few hours and it would die. And with the alternator being brand new, I knew it wasn't the alternator. I knew it was a battery issue. Took it back to O'Reilly's. They did the overnight test on it. And yeah, it wasn't holding a charge. So they're like, okay, yeah, here's another battery. So hand me another battery. Put that in the BMW. And again, it won't hold a charge. What could be staying on overnight? Like, cigarette lighter, the glove box light. I'm checking everything. My buddy with his Veloster was over, and we were working on his Veloster suspension, and on the side I was playing with the fuses and such. I ended up pulling the seat down in the back seat of the BMW, and the trunk light was on, and I was like, that's weird. I look over, car is off, key is in my pocket, so I'm like, why is the trunk light staying on? Turns out the trimming has a little bit of a plate that when you close the trunk lid, the plate pushes against the sensor, telling the trunk light to turn off. When I couldn't get the trunk trimming back in because it didn't fit for whatever reason, it wasn't telling the trunk light to turn off because the little thing for the sensor was gone. So I just pulled the whole bulb out of the trunk. Bam, problem solved. Battery has never given me another issue since. Topped off the ATF and steering fluid because it was a squealing disaster trying to drive that thing. Ever since then, wonderfully quiet and smooth. After all of that was said and done, what was next? Get an emissions test, because parking it on the street outside of my apartment complex, police tagged it and I had to pay a parking citation because it was parked out there with an expired registration from the previous owner, and I couldn't park it inside my complex because they patrol and check for the registrations, and so they kept putting stickers on my window telling me they're going to tow it. Took it to an emissions test, and it failed the first one because the check engine light would not come on when you would turn the key to the first click. And so they failed it right away because, you need to be able to have the check engine light come on and then turn off once you have the car on. Pulled the cluster out. There was no damn bulb. There was no bulb in it. There was no check engine bulb. So I pulled the one from the traction control, swapped it over to that because I don't need that shit. Put it back into the cluster, cranked it over, boom, that worked. So took the car, drove it around some more, took it, got it emissions tested, it passed just like that. So I was like, whew. So that was cool. Immediately took it, got it registered. They gave me a cool plate, got my new registration sticker, got a fresh new clean title in my name that I have now locked up. And let me tell you, there is nothing like having a title in hand. And then lastly, and this is the embarrassing part, so sometimes you just have to do things the janky way. Had to diagnose the coolant leak, and the only reason I knew it was coolant is because I had gotten under there one day and tasted it, and it's leaking coolant like pretty consistently. My buddy crawled under there, instantly saw it's the radiator petcock, which is the release valve at the bottom of the radiator. It's literally got a hole through the center of it, and it's just literally just dripping coolant out. We got a self-tapping screw, put some self-sealant on there, and ran it through the hole. It slowed down the leak so that I don't literally run the thing dry. But I need to throw an online cart together on FCP and order some more radiator fluid and a new petcock and yeah, a couple other things. There's some the oil cooler lines are leaking, but I think it just needs a new clamp, so I need to just order that. So I need to throw a cart together. But that's kind of an update on the BMW. A lot has happened in kind of a long period of time. The rear bumper is back on, the spoiler is safe. The car is now legally mine, finally, and I can now park it without worrying about it getting towed while I sleep. So that is way cool. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna throw the rest of the clips in here so you guys can kind of see what's been going on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And next for the BMW, besides fixing the cooling lines, we are slamming it. So my lowering springs are en route as we speak and should be here within the next few days. So that's going to be a fun project. Hello everybody and welcome to Project Car Sunday! It's not actually a thing, it's a thing today. Probably had some projects go on a Sunday before. So yeah, it's a thing. So today we are on a couple of different things. So let me turn the flash on here for you guys. So probably as long as my homie was able to remember the drill bit, we're going to get these guys installed on the BMW. I've had them sitting in my closet here for a couple of weeks. My bumper is not actually quick release. Oh, hey, hello, how's it going? But we're going to make it look like one because, you know, drift car. So there's one thing I want to do today. Another thing, I have a now badgeless grill on the Golf. So I pulled the R badge off of, as you can see, my original grill here, and I'm going to be trying to get it drilled into the badgeless grill. Badgeless meaning it doesn't have that, it just goes all the way across. So we're going to work on that. Got the Sawzall battery all charged up. Hopefully get the muffler cut, and yeah, it should be a pretty good day. We're going to work on his Velo too, so yeah, Project Sunday. It is pretty hot today. Of course, you know, every other day of the week it's in high 80s, way early 90s. But as soon as I'm off and I want to work on the car, it gets, 95. That's what it says. So it's pretty hot. Not a single cloud in the sky. It's also humid. I don't know if you can see all the condensation on my gallon of iced tea here, but I've only been outside like 2 minutes. So it's kind of humid too, which is kind of whack. So we're gonna go ahead and move both cars. So I'm moving the Golf for a move to the back of the complex where it's quiet, people leave us alone. I'm gonna come back for the BMW. Alright. Let's hear a cold start with before I cut the mufflers off. I have a coolant leak, by the way, so that's why I'm not driving it a whole lot. Keep having to top it off. So that's another thing we're gonna address today. I'm gonna crawl under there and see where the leak is coming from. But here's the before. We're gonna change that quiet tone it's got there. Oh, and it's gone. Yeah, the check control light turns off. It's not empty, but it definitely leaks at a pretty quick pace, so we're gonna fix that.
A few minutes later.
Oh, it's wet, bro. Jesus Christ.